Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Raw Relationships Are Work, where we get real about the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to love and connection. If you're new here, Raw is all about exploring the messy, the beautiful, and sometimes tough aspects of relationships. Because, as we say, relationships are work, but the growth is worth it. I'm your host, Tara. Today, we are talking about a topic that might not sound romantic, but it does play a huge role in the strength of any relationship, and that's financial compatibility. Money is one of those things that can either bring couples closer together or create friction if not handled openly and honestly. Seriously. So, we're going to talk about how our financial values, whether we're savers, whether we're spenders, or somewhere in between, shapes our relationships, how to communicate about money with your partner, and what to do when financial disagreements arise, because they will. So, whether you're in a new relationship or you've been together for years, this episode should give you tools to navigate financial waters and also help your relationship and keep it strong. And as always, remember, relationships are work, but with openness and understanding, you can build a foundation that lasts. So let's talk about it. This topic was suggested by a listener named Antonio. Antonio is a gentleman in his 30s. He and his wife have been together for about 7 years. They have two young children who are 4.5 and 2. And right now, Antonio's wife is not currently working outside the home. However, he says that that's fine because his income allows them to live comfortably, to keep a roof over their heads, to save ideally for their children's education, for their retirement, whatever. However, he says that they do get into somewhat frequent arguments over finances because even though he makes a decent income, he's finding it difficult to save for that future that he wants or that they want because the spending habits are not conducive to that. He says that sometimes it seems as though the money is being spent as quickly as it's being made, where he's bringing in the income, he's paying the bills, and he's also seeing Amazon packages arriving almost every day, or money going to this thing or that thing is always something. He says that they get into these arguments because his wife says, like, well, the purchases are for the house or for the kids, but he says it's always something. There's always some cause or something that is prohibiting them from saving money at the rate that he would be more comfortable with. And he's asking, what is this? First of all, is this normal? Is he overreacting by having these discussions or confrontations, it seems like, with his wife over these things? Or what is it that he can do? And so he wants to talk about financial compatibility. And first and foremost, I would say that based on the information that he provided, I don't think I can say that he is overreacting. What I will say is that the question should be reframed from what can I do to what can we do? Because the we is what reinforces the partnership rather than the I, which seems more one-sided. So there are three, I think, questions which can address this topic. The first question is, what are the key factors in achieving financial compatibility as a couple? And the first thing that comes to my mind is open communication. It all starts with honest, open conversations about money. Both partners have to feel safe discussing their financial views, their concerns, and their goals without any judgment. Transparency is key. Talk about your spending habits, talk about any debts, talk about savings and, those long-term goals that you're working towards. When everything's out in the open, it does build trust. In addition to communication, there should be mutual respect. It is important to respect each other's contributions, whether it's financial or non-financial. Just because one partner might be the primary wage earner doesn't mean that the other role is any less valuable. It's about seeing the whole picture, right? And avoid power imbalances that can creep in. When we're talking about seeing the whole picture and avoiding power imbalances, I really mean that both partners need to acknowledge the value that each person brings to the relationship, whether it's financial or otherwise, and make sure that one person isn't dominating the decisions just because they earn more. For example, let's say one partner earns significantly more than the other partner. So let's say partner A earns significantly more than partner B, who stays home to care for the kids. If partner A takes the approach of, I make the money so I get to decide how it's spent, it creates a power imbalance. Partner B might feel like they have no say, even though they're contributing in important ways by taking care of the household, which enables partner A to focus on their career. So to avoid this, both partners have to be involved in financial decisions, respecting the fact that they are both contributing to the household's well-being, even if it's in different ways. Another example could be where imagine partner A is the wage earner again and partner B isn't currently working. If partner B feels guilty or unworthy because they don't bring in income, they might go along with every decision that partner A makes without voicing their own opinions. And over time, this can lead to resentment or feeling that they are invisible in the partnership. A healthier approach would involve partner A actively encouraging partner B to contribute their thoughts on financial decisions, whether it's about how to budget or what to save for or what lifestyle choices are important. Now, consider a scenario where partner A is working long hours and saving aggressively for their retirement, but partner B is more focused on enjoying the present and tends to spend more freely. If partner B doesn't acknowledge partner A's sacrifice or isn't careful about aligning with the shared financial goals, it is going to cause tension. So, to keep things balanced, both partners need to respect the work and sacrifices involved. Partner B has to recognize the effort being put into saving, and partner A has to recognize the value of occasional spending for a more fulfilling life. But in all these examples that I gave, the key is making sure that both partners feel heard, feel respected, feel valued. That is regardless of who's bringing home the paycheck. It's about building a true partnership where financial decisions reflect the needs and the goals of both individuals. So we talked about that in open communication. We've talked about mutual respect. And I alluded to shared goals. Well, let's talk about that more. Shared goals, like working together on shared financial goals, is huge. You both have to have a say in where your money's going, whether you're saving for, I don't know, a house or building some kind of an emergency fund or planning for retirement or planning for your kids' future. You have to have that common ground and move forward toward a future that reflects both of your values. And financial compatibility isn't always about agreeing on every little thing. It's about understanding each other's priorities and being willing to compromise when needed. Compromise when needed. Life changes and flexibility really helps you roll along with those changes without turning money into a point of friction at every turn. So question 2 is, how can couples handle financial disagreements without damaging their relationship? Well, I think the first point would be to, when you're having these discussions, stay calm and listen. When financial disagreements pop up, approach them as a team. Take a moment to breathe, listen to your partner's concerns, and try not to react emotionally. Having a calm and solution focused attitude can stop a small issue from blowing up into a really big argument. And you have to find common ground. Look for things that you both agree on, right? Maybe you both want financial security or you're both working towards saving for the future. Focusing on that common ground can help you work through the disagreements more easily. Another thing is to separate the issue from the person. It's important not to make it personal. It's important not to take it personally too. Instead of saying things like, oh, you're bad with money, try something like, I'm worried about how this could affect our savings. And this kind of keeps the conversation focused on the problem and avoids putting your partner on the defensive. Because once someone is on the defensive, it's a really uphill battle. It's an uphill battle to shift the atmosphere. And honestly, sometimes it's important to get professional help. If financial disagreements keep coming up and it's stressing your relationship, don't hesitate to bring it to a professional. Even like whether we're talking about like a financial advisor or a counselor, but somebody who can offer neutral advice and help both of you to create a plan that works for your goals. And by your, I'm talking collective, the collective you. The third question is, what strategies do you recommend for discussing financial goals and priorities with your partner? Well, let's start with transparency. Be upfront about your situation from the beginning, right? Talk openly about your income, talk openly about any debts, your savings, and how you spend money. It creates a foundation of trust when both of you know exactly where the other one is coming from. Another strategy would be to schedule financial check-ins. Set up regular check-ins to talk about your finances. You could do this monthly or quarterly, whatever works best for you. It gives you both a chance to see how you're doing with your goals and adjust the plan if needed. It helps you to stay on the same page. Another strategy is to make sure that you set your short and long-term goals together. Work together to set goals that reflect both of your values. Start with the short-term goals, like saving for a trip, and then move on to your long-term goals, like paying off a mortgage or planning retirement. It's important that you both feel involved, in the process and have a say in what's important. Use budget as a tool, not a restriction. Create a budget that helps you achieve your goals, but make it flexible. You don't want to feel like you set rules you're forced to follow, but more like a guide that helps you both stay on track. So when we think about financial compatibility, it's really about creating balance and respect in the relationship. It's not just about money, it's about partnership. And a great scripture that highlights this is Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 and 10, which says, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. This verse reminds us that we are stronger together, and it applies directly to how we manage our finances in a relationship. Each partner is contributing something valuable, whether it's financially or in another way, and it's imperative to recognize those contributions. Both partners need to lift each other up and respect each other's roles in the relationship, even if, as I said before, even if one isn't contributing financially, they're likely doing it in other ways, like maybe by managing the home, by caring for the children, or supporting the partner emotionally. Now, Luke chapter 14, verse 28 says, for which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? This emphasizes the importance of planning and careful decision-making, which applies, again, perfectly to shared financial goals. Both partners should have a say in those plans. And it's not about one person making all the decisions and the other just going along with it because they feel like they don't have a say. If both partners don't sit down and plan together, they risk building a financial future that doesn't reflect both of their values. It's important that both people feel empowered in these conversations, not just as a courtesy, but because their input is critical for the relationship's success. As we wrap up, please remember that financial compatibility is more than just agreeing on numbers. It's about building a partnership based on open communication, mutual respect, and shared goals. By maintaining respect on both sides and having these conversations, you can build a future that works for both of you, one that isn't just about surviving financially, but thriving as a team. Remember, it's not about who earns the money, but how you work together to manage it. And when you do that, your relationship grows stronger in every way. Thanks again for joining me for this episode of Raw Relationships Are Work, where we talked about financial compatibility. Be sure to look for a new episode on the second and fourth Sunday of every month. Again, thanks for listening.